Keith here for Am I Rich, and today we're going to talk about 3 stocks they watched for the month of July. That's right, this is 3 stocks the YouTubers were watching or planning on buying or something in the month of July 2018, and we're checking out how they're doing now. That's right, we're almost in July 2019. So on the list, if you want to know more about how it's done, watch some of the other videos in this series. Maybe I'll put a link or just search my page. And also, if you want to know more about these YouTubers after I talk about them, feel free to check the description. They're going to have all their channel links to them. Feel free to look at them after you subscribe to this channel. Now, so getting into it, number 1 on our list is Ale, Spinning World Ale from Ale World of Stocks. He was the champion last month, and so he's on the list this month. Next up is basketball enthusiast Brandon Beavis from Brandon Beavis Investing. Then followed is AK from his name's AK, I guess, from Fallible Financial Entertainment. It seems like a channel that's kind of fairly produced, I guess. So maybe it's made by it's I think funded by somebody who's got money to make it more of a production style. And then we have down the list JKR from JKR Investing. He's only got like 300 subscribers, but I think he's got some really good picks. At least last year he was knocking a lot of things out of the park. So great channel. If you haven't checked it out, feel free to check it out. And then after that we have a new one on the list, Investing Robinhood Investor. This channel is also not as popular, and I haven't seen much of his videos in the past. So he's on the list because he surprised me. So, and if they're not on the list, there's a reason they probably didn't do that well, or maybe they were just below, some of these people in certain times of the year. Now, a lot of people I used to put on famous YouTubers. So I used to put Jeremy from Financial Education all the time on this list. But if he's not making the list because of his picks, I thought it's not really that helpful to have him. But if you do want to know about how Jeremy did, stick around near the end. Maybe I'll mention, kind of how he did. And also, if you want to know what the best stock pick was overall, I'll let you know as well out of all the YouTubers' picks for last year in July. So let's get right into it. So the first timeline that we go through is 1 week. 1 week is just kind of a, check how well they were doing. Do they have really good short-term vision? Like, oh yeah, this is going to go up in July, and it goes up right away. Well, the number 1 pick for that was AK from Fallible Financial Entertainment. He was up 4.2% after 1 week, which is not bad in my opinion. If you can get 4.2 after 1 week, if you can do it consistently, then maybe you should be a trader. And now, if we go on to the next category, this is 1 month, and this might be the most important one because after all, they were picking for July. Now, a lot of people pick for long periods of time. They say these are picks for 3-5 years, and maybe we'll do a review after we can see how they've done after 3-5 years. But after 1 month, some of them they're picking for the month of July. So how did they do? Well, the number 1 was Ale. So Spinning World Ale, he had 6.9% after 1 month. Pretty good. His picks were Amazon, Apple, and Google. So very, big companies, probably some of the biggest in the world at the time. But he felt like they were going to do well, and they really did at that point. So good on Ale. Then we go to the next time segment. That's 1 quarter. So 3 months. I feel like this is when most companies are reporting earnings after 1 quarter or 3 months, and this kind of gives a sense of how a company, its stock price doesn't change, I guess, until news comes out. Generally, it can, if there's big investment firms, it's just changing their positions randomly, but usually you're waiting for big news, and big news usually happens in a quarter. So I feel like it's more fair to judge over a quarter. And so the best one after 1 quarter was AK from Fallible Finance, and he was up 27.6% after a quarter. This is really good. His picks were Micron, Intel, and AMD. So he was totally going into the semiconductor area. He felt like, you know, people were saying that it was a bit of a bubble, but he saw a lot of demand for chips. Of course, it has been a bubble since, you know, chip demand has slowed down and gone down in price quite a bit. But he could be right. There's still a lot of, you know, well, I don't know if there's as much crypto mining, but there's definitely a lot of cloud services coming online. So definitely still an industry that might be of interest, but you know, stock prices for Micron have really gone down, and the same with Intel hasn't done that well. But he was up after one quarter 27.6%, so pretty good. And also, if you don't know, there's a little dashed line here. That dashed line is basically where the S&P was starting from, you know, July last year. It's not an exact number, obviously, but it's where the cutoff was. So looks like most of them were still doing quite a bit better than the S&P. So let's move to the next one. Now, see if that stays. So this is after half a year. How did they do after half a year? Well, after half a year, this is when things really went down the tubes. I mean, we're getting into the end of the year. December, everything crashed. So at that point, the number one picker was investing Robinhood Investor. He was up 5%. Now he picked some really, you know, basic companies. He picked Johnson & Johnson, 3M, and McDonald's. And I think these are really, you know, if the recession's happening, a lot of people will rush to these companies because they think they have products everywhere, or, you know, fast food chains everywhere. So it's just something that's going to be stable, and that's what people are rushing to. I'm not really sure about McDonald's, but, you know, that's most people believe it will do well. And he was the only one who wasn't negative after half a year. So quite a drastic change. I mean, if you had sold out after a quarter, would have done pretty well, and then you could reinvest it in, you know, in December. But who can time the market, right? Yeah. And then finally, if we go right to the end, there we are. The number one pick was actually JKR. JKR did pretty consistent. He was above the S&P the whole time. At the end, to date, he's at 29.4% with those picks. Pretty good. His picks, he actually, so it's a little bit misleading, I should say, because he actually picked 10 stocks instead of 3, but he ordered them in the order that he would buy them, you know, like the first 3 were more likely to buy than the next 7. So I use those as his picks. If you did choose all of his picks, you'd probably be closer to 10.7% right now. Still above the S&P, but not as good. But you definitely wanted to focus on the first 3, well, in order, starting from 1 to 3 and onward. And those first 3 were Microsoft, Boeing, and PayPal. They've done really well. Microsoft and PayPal were over 30% since then. And Boeing, even with a huge catastrophe with its planes crashing, it's still up 11%, more than 11% over that year. So amazing picks, I'd say, for JKR. Good for him. And a close second, 27.6, was Brandon Beavis investing. Brandon Beavis, he started off very slow. I mean, he was below the S&P for the first quarter at least. And his picks were JD.com, Microsoft, and SBUX. Now, I feel bad for him. He probably would have done better. You know, SBUX did amazing. SBUX is over 70%. Again, we said Microsoft did well. And then JD.com was his worst pick. And a lot of these people last year, they picked Chinese stocks. And that was a big problem for them, because when they picked the Chinese stocks, you know, after that, there was a huge trade war between the US and China. And it's still ongoing, so that didn't help and isn't helping any of the Chinese stocks at all. So unfortunately, that pushed him down to second. But that's the way, you know, investing goes. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you don't. Yeah, so feel free to check out their channels. Now, if you're wondering about financial education, a lot of people watch Jeremy. I mean, he's very entertaining, and he's very informative. and he's very inspiring too, maybe. So his picks actually after 1 month, he was actually down 0.4%. He picked Toll Brothers, Skyworks Solutions, and FedEx. And then after 1 year, he's down, or up to now, he's down 17.4%. But there is an interesting trend. He was actually third among all the YouTubers I could find for his pick after 1 week. And there's a bit of a trend with Jeremy. He seems to be able to do that first week really well, or even the first month, not too bad usually. So I don't know if he needs to be more of a trader, or maybe he is a trader, or I think his real strategy though is to just keep buying it as it goes lower and then it goes up. Not everybody can copy that because they don't have unlimited money, but still very interesting. And then if you were wondering what the best stock pick overall was, it was AMD, and that was AK from Fallible Financial Entertainment, I should say. He picked AMD, and AMD to date is up like 93.2%, so very good. Now, yeah, video is getting a little bit long, but I hope you liked it. Feel free to, check out these YouTubers or subscribe to this channel if you want. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you in the next video.